The moonlit adventures of Arya and the enchanted castle. In a faraway land where the skies sparkled with a million stars, and the moon's silver light bathed the world in a gentle glow, there was a tiny village called Eldoria, nestled between tall, mist-covered mountains and endless fields of golden wheat. Eldoria was a peaceful place, where the villagers lived simple and happy lives. But beyond the village, hidden deep within the heart of the mysterious Silverwood forest, stood a grand and ancient castle. This castle, known as the Enchanted Castle, had stood for centuries, its towering spires piercing the sky, its walls shimmering with magic that no one in the village could understand. Legends were whispered of the castle's origins. Some said it was built by powerful words. Others believed it was home to ancient spirits. But one thing was certain. No one who ventured into the forest ever returned. Despite the warnings, a curious young girl named Arya couldn't help but wonder about the castle. She had always been different from the other villagers, with her bright blue eyes that seemed to see beyond the ordinary, and her unquenchable thirst for adventure. While other children played by the river or helped in the fields, Arya would spend hours in the village library, devouring tales of knights, dragons, and far-off lands. And every night, as she lay in bed, she would gaze out of her window, her thoughts drifting toward the Silverwood forest and the enchanted castle within. One evening, as the moon hung low in the sky, casting a silvery path through the trees, Arya made a decision. She would go to the enchanted castle. She would uncover its secrets, not just for herself, but for the entire village. She packed a small bag with essentials, a loaf of bread, a flask of water, and her favorite book of fairy tales, and slipped quietly out of her home. The night air was cool and crisp, filled with the sounds of crickets chirping and the rustling of leaves. The path to the forest was overgrown, rarely traveled by anyone in the village. But Arya's heart raced with excitement rather than fear. As she entered the forest, the trees seemed to close in around her, their branches twisting and turning in ways that made the moonlight flicker like candle flames. "Stay calm," Arya whispered to herself, gripping the straps of her bag tightly. This is just like in the stories. Every adventure begins with a step into the unknown. She followed the moonlit path deeper into the forest, her footsteps barely making a sound on the soft earth. The further she went, the more the forest seemed to change. The trees grew taller, their trunks thicker and their leaves glowing faintly, as if they held tiny stars within. Strange, beautiful flowers bloomed in the shadows, their petals shimmering with colors Arya had never seen before. It was as if the forest itself was alive with magic. After what felt like hours, Arya finally reached a clearing, and there, standing tall and majestic under the moon's gentle light, was the enchanted castle. Its towers rose high into the sky, their peaks disappearing into the mist. The walls were covered in ivy, but even through the thick vines, Arya could see the castle's shimmering surface, as if it was made of glass or crystal. "Wow," Arya breathed, her eyes wide with awe. She had read about bottles in her books, but nothing had prepared her for the real thing. The castle was both beautiful and eerie, a place that seemed to exist both in this world and another. As she approached the castle, the massive wooden gates creaked open on their own, revealing a grand courtyard beyond. Arya hesitated for only a moment before stepping inside. The courtyard was overgrown with wildflowers and ivy, but it still held an air of grandeur, with its cobblestone pathways and stone fountains. In the center of the courtyard stood a large, ancient oak tree, its branches stretching out like welcoming arms. "Hello?" Arya called out softly, her voice echoing off the castle walls. "Is anyone here?" For a moment, there was only silence. Then, from behind the oak tree, a soft rustling sound reached Arya's ears. She tensed, her heart pounding. Slowly, she approached the tree, her eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. "Who's there?" she asked, trying to sound brave. To her surprise, a small creature emerged from behind the tree. It was unlike anything Arya had ever seen before. It looked like a tiny, fluffy fox, but with wings like a butterfly, shimmering in the moonlight. Its fur was a soft silver color, and its eyes glowed a warm amber. "Greetings, traveler," the creature said, in a voice that was surprisingly deep for its small size. "I am Loomis, guardian of the enchanted castle. What brings you to this place of ancient magic?" Arya blinked in astonishment. A talking winged fox? She had read about magical creatures in her books, but meeting one in real life was something else entirely. I came to explore the castle," Arya replied, finding her voice. "I've always wanted to know its secrets." Loomis tilted his head, his wings fluttering gently. "The castle holds many secrets, young one. Some are wondrous, but others are dangerous. Are you sure you wish to uncover them?" Arya nodded firmly. "I'm not afraid. I want to learn all I can about this place." The little fox did smile, revealing sharp, tiny teeth. "Very well, brave traveler. But know this. Once you enter the castle, you cannot leave until you have completed the trials within. The castle chooses those who are worthy of its knowledge and gifts. Are you ready to face its challenges?" Arya's heart skipped a beat. Trials? Challenges? This was turning into a real adventure. She straightened her shoulders and looked Loomis in the eyes. "I'm ready." With a nod, Loomis spread his wings and took to the air, leading Arya to the grand entrance of the castle. The doors opened with a low groan, revealing a vast, dimly lit hallway. Torches lined the walls, their flames flickering with a soft blue light. The air inside was cool, with a faint scent of old parchment and blooming flowers. "Follow me," Loomis said, gliding ahead of her. "The first trial awaits." Arya stepped inside, her footsteps echoing in the cavernous hallway. The walls were adorned with tapestries depicting scenes of battles, celebrations, and mysterious rituals. She couldn't help but marvel at the artistry and wonder about the stories behind each image. As they walked deeper into the castle, the hallway opened up into a large chamber. The ceiling was impossibly high, and the walls were lined with bookshelves that stretched up to the heavens. In the center of the chamber stood a large, intricately carved pedestal, and on it rested a single ancient book. Its cover was made of dark, polished wood, and its pages seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly light. "This is the trial of wisdom," Loomis explained, landing softly on the pedestal. "To pass this trial, you must solve the riddle within the book. Only then will the next door open." Arya approached the book, her curiosity piqued. She had always loved riddles and puzzles, and this seemed like the perfect challenge for her. She gently opened the book, and as she did, the words on the page glowed with a soft golden light. The riddle read, "I have no voice, yet I speak to you. I tell of all things in the world that people do. I have leaves, but I am not a tree. What am I?" Arya pondered the riddle for a moment. It seemed familiar, like something she had read before. She thought about the clues. No voice, yet it speaks. Tells of all things people do. Has leaves, but isn't a tree. Suddenly, it clicked. "A book!" she exclaimed. "The answer is a book." As soon as the words left her lips, the book glowed brighter and the pedestal began to shift. The floor beneath them rumbled, and a hidden door in the wall slowly slid open, revealing a staircase leading down into the depths of the castle. "Well done, Arya," Loomis praised, his eyes gleaming with approval. "You have passed the trial of wisdom, but your journey is far from over. The next trial awaits below." Arya took a deep breath and followed Loomis down the staircase. The air grew cooler as they descended, and the sound of dripping water echoed through the narrow passage. At the bottom of the stairs, they entered another chamber, this one filled with flowing streams and lush greenery. The walls were covered in vines, and soft glowing flowers bloomed everywhere. In the center of the chamber stood a large stone altar, and on it rested a small crystal vial filled with a shimmering liquid. "This is the trial of courage," Loomis said, hovering above the altar. "To pass this trial, you must retrieve the vial without disturbing the guardians of the chamber. They are creatures of magic, and they will test your bravery and resolve. Are you ready?" Arya nodded, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and apprehension. She stepped forward cautiously, her eyes scanning the chamber for any signs of movement. The streams bubbled softly, and the flowers swirled